Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session on digital asset maintenance, the road forward. My name is Priyanka Chatterjee, and I head India marketing at Infor. Quickly, I would like to take you through a few housekeeping rules before we start today. So, this webinar would be scheduled to last for 45 minutes. That would include the Q&A session that we have at the end. All dialed-in participants will be muted to enable the speakers to present without interruption. We will also record the webinar, which would be sent to you later. You can post all your questions for the speakers via GoToWebinar control panel in the Q&A session and send it to all the panelists. And this would be answered at the end. We do have two eminent speakers today, Binu George, who heads the business consulting at Infor India, and Vijay Kumar Sabu, who heads manufacturing and supply chain at Godrej and Boyce. I would quickly start with my giving a short brief about the organization Infor and take it on from there and then hand it over to Vijay. So let me just take you quickly through the agenda that we would be following for the day. I would be taking you through Infor as an organization, a bit about Infor as the business and our footprints in India and globally as well. Then I would be handing it over to Vijay Kumar Sabu, who is the head of manufacturing and supply chain, who would take you through his experience of using Infor EAM within Godrej and Boyce. From there on, Binu George, who is the head of business consulting, would be taking it on, and he would take us through the digital asset maintenance, the road forward. We would be taking up the Q&A session post that and conclude the session for the day. A little bit about Infor as an organization. Infor is a global leader in business cloud software products for companies in industry-specific markets. Infor builds complete industry suites in cloud and efficiently deploys the technology that puts the user experience first. It also leverages the data science and integrates easily into existing system. We only build business applications like ERP, EAM, and SCM, etc. For large and medium-sized companies, we today have around 400 plus customers in India. I would go to the next slide to take you through, our spread as an organization. We have 3.2 billion in revenue. We have close to 200, our presence in 200 plus countries and headquartered in New York. We have our presence in India for the last 27 years, and we have 68,000 plus customers globally, of which I mentioned that we have around 800 plus in India. I'll quickly move to the next one to tell you the entire Infor stack. This is our solution stack where you can see we make industry specific solutions and functionalities embedded in an ERP. And today, out of all the offerings that we have, we are going to be speaking about EAM. So quickly to be moving to the next slide, I would like to take you through, I'm not sure if you've heard about the organization CERN, which is one of the world's largest research centers for particle physics. They are one of our largest customers who are using EAM. And just to give you a little brief about how widely they are spread across the European market, I would go to the next slide to show the spread. You can see the Swiss and the France and the entire stretch, how big it is spread across and how complex this project is for us. The next slide would even show you that we have around 2.4 million equipments installed and 2,800 users in it. Even the picture behind would show how complex this itself looks like. I will go to the next slide to even show, the different micro verticals where we have our enterprise asset management customers laid across globally. So we have utilities, public sector, healthcare facilities, and the next slide again, I have few more micro verticals that would be manufacturing, oil and gas, distribution, and hospitality. And today, it would be Godrej and Boyce, who is one of our major customers and has been using EAM as one of the solution, would be sharing their experiences with us. To give you a quick brief about the speakers that we have today, I'll move to the next one. We have Binu George, who is the head of business consulting Infor India. Binu comes with almost 25 years of experience focusing on management consulting and business application solutions for customers in India, Middle East, and in US. We also have Vijay Kumar Sabu, who is the head of manufacturing and supply chain from Godrej and Boyce. And he has worked for almost 10 years with Datar Switchguard Limited as a head of tool room and general manager. He is currently a part of tool and die making business for Godrej and Boyce, working as an assistant vice president, head manufacturing and supply chain. So I would be giving it over to Vijay Kumar Sabu to share his experiences of Info EAM journey within his organization. Over to you, Vijay.
Yeah, okay. Hello, everybody. This is Vijay Kumar Sabu from Godrej and Boyce. I am the manufacturing head and supply chain head for a business which is into making die casting dies, sheet metal panel toolings, and industrial machines. Godrej Group is operating from more than 4 or 5 locations in India, but the main activity is at for the Godrej and Boyce Group is at Vikhroli. This is how our campus looks. We are occupying a good space here of almost 3,200 acres. And my business per se, the Godrej tooling business, is serving automotives mainly. We are making sheet metal panel toolings. We are also making die casting dies, and we are making industrial machines. The contents, as I given here, we are just going to briefly talk about why digital asset maintenance is going to become important in the time to come, and how maintenance and Industry 4.0 are important for us. The main issue being a very relevant saying that a stitch in time saves 9. So this is how most of the middle management people feel, that we know it all, we don't require smart technologies, and we can manage it all. But the fact remains that in today's competitive world, it is better to have smarter maintenance of assets, and there are many things which can be done by which the productivity of assets can be improved. If we look at the Indian context, we find that we can use this technology in order to enable human and equipment resources for producing more. I think that is what we should see. While we have missed out on the Industry 3.0, and the worry has been that if Industry 4.0 came in, it will take away a lot. 3.0 came in, it would take away a lot of jobs, but that is not the case. So going with that forward then, as an organization, we have set up an organization policy which is around Infor, and a lot of applications from Microsoft, and that is basically then driving what we are doing to say that we can have various partners from the various agencies coming in for specific applications, and we can then we have midterm, short-term, and long-term projects which are either centrally driven or driven by individuals, and the core activities being to be digitally enabled products being produced or to improve our operations. So while we are improving our operations, Infor and EAM are our core drivers. So as an asset manufacturing head and a person who is using a lot of assets, for me EAM is more important right now, and we will be now focusing on that. So EAM is has been configured to work along with Info, where we have maintenance, work management, instrument and calibration management, and asset management. We have 14 businesses. What we have gone about doing is we at least create as a first step created unique codes for the assets. Similar assets can be identified, and the spares management. Each spare has been given a unique code so that there is no duplication of spares across the organization. As and when we have started any new projects or working on the existing resources, what we have tried to do is, if something is not directly available or some legacy information is available, how that can be migrated and connected with Infor or EAM. That has been one of the main activity we have been doing in so many days now. We are with Infor for already 3 years, while the implementation took some little time, and EAM has also been active fully. I can also talk about IDM, the document management module from Info, which is helping us a lot to have most of our manuals and knowledge information which is available to be linked through EAM and Info. So here is one typical case I'm going to be talking, wherein we started a one of our businesses, which is headed by another colleague of mine. We had started a greenfield project, and in the greenfield project, the idea was not to just capture data as it comes to know when a maintenance breakdown has happened or what went wrong. It was also to enhance the experience and the information, so that whatever is done can be seen for better analysis in future. So here is a one. So here is what was done. Here we have a case wherein if there is a breakdown, then immediately the breakdown is registered on a screen by an individual. Now this is outside EM currently, because earlier we had to go to a desktop and do this activity. Here it is done on the system itself. What kind of breakdown is that? That information goes to the maintenance dashboard, and from the maintenance dashboard a person is immediately informed and he comes on the machine. He uses various maintenance modules and the utility monitoring information in order to correct the machine. So this is how it goes. And we have also now designed a very similar setup for the entire production system which is happening in my plant, where I am making die casting dies and sheet metal panel tunings, and we are going to be integrating it with the EAM completely. Some of the asset specific actions which we have taken, which are integrated with EAM, are the energy which is being consumed by each of the asset, that is being monitored currently through cloud management, cloud computing data. A lot of information comes in as to how the performance of the asset has been, whether there have been peak consumption of energy, how whether it is within the norms of the Greenco limits I have set. All those informations are available, and that is also getting connected with EM directly. We are also having the OE data being collected. Of course, here I am showing you with one of the partners with whom we have used the data logger. We are also having two other partners with whom various other businesses within my organization are doing this activity. And these are being then connected with Infor in one of the slides which I mentioned earlier to you, so that the machine utilization, the OE of the machines, and the project status can all be easily got from it. We are also doing a predictive maintenance activity. Here is an example where one of the machines which was facing some problem related to a typical type of cutting actions, a sensor has been put, and if that type of a cutting action is happening, information directly goes to the shop head and the maintenance head, so that they are able to control before a damage happens, because each of these sensor costs me more than ₹1,00,000. We are also monitoring the condition of the control units, wherein if the humidity and temperature, if they are going beyond the set limits, immediately the maintenance team comes to know about it, and they are able to take action to see that the machine controllers are maintained in the required ambient conditions. So some of the products which Godrej Tooling has developed and is marketing, they are not directly related with EAM currently, but any organization can connect them to enterprise asset management module. Here, for the railways, we have developed an IoT solution wherein the torque which is applied for each of the bogie carriage has to be recorded. So we have made that entire system IoT enabled, so that the torque data is going directly to the cloud for a given bogie assembly, and that information can be retrieved and analyzed at any point of time, either during the operation or breakdown of the particular maintenance or breakdown of the particular carriage. We ourselves have developed a smart die concept, wherein the high pressure die casting die which I make, it has to be run at certain parameters in order to give a specified life of 100,000 shots. If it is not run at the proper parameters, it breaks down, it may crack, it may develop surface defects. So if we have now developed a concept of putting a number of sensors in it so that the information can be directly captured on the cloud and alerts can be given if there is any violation on pressures and temperature on the given die as per an escalation matrix. So this product, which is called the connected smart die, which is already patented by us, is it can improve the reliability, productivity, safety, and the data which is acquired through this activity can be used for more improved design of the dies and the products. So I don't know whether this will play. This was a movie. It will not play, I guess. Sorry, there was a movie of about 47 seconds. A small clip was there. That this being a PDF file, probably it is not working. And then we have what benefits the stakeholders can get from it. So the idea was that if you are going to be treating your dies also, the products which I give as a B2B business, if that is also used like an asset machine, then it can also be managed through the modules which are available in EAM. And what are the benefits to various end users, the production manager, and the die owner, and immediate, near, and long term can be known through this. And so coming back to the maintenance 4.0 and what EAM helps in this is about preventive maintenance, predictive maintenance, some of the very basics, and again some of the advanced practices which can be taken care through this through maintenance 4.0. I think that's the end of my presentation, and the next speaker can now come in. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Sabu. Thank you for your insightful data that you actually helped understand how Infor EAM, and then based on that, some of the tools that you've made for your IoT for the dies. It has been very interesting to see. The audience, I would just want to repeat what Priyanka, my colleague, actually showed you on the CERN. This is something, why we bring this up and why it may not be looking relevant to manufacturing is because this is fairly complex. And this is apart from we doing it for some atomic weapons establishments, atomic weapons establishment companies globally. We have also had CERN, which actually is fairly sophisticated, and the complete enterprise asset management, and now they are actually taking the whole thing to an artificial intelligence to actually enable IoT on them. That is a classic case where we can always see that we are easily able to handle the manufacturing challenges, which are also fairly complex. That is the reason we put this up. 2.4 million equipments, very sensitive, very expensive. A cross section of one of them you can see on the screen itself behind. These are the kind of equipments that we are monitoring in CERN using Infor EAM. Almost 2 lakh orders per year, work orders, checklist of 5,000 checklists per day. Typically you would want to have inspection checklists per day for all your equipments if you are a very complex operation. There are almost 92,000 reference parts. 1 million attached documents because of manuals or diagrams or cross-section diagrams of your equipments you want to see. 2,800 customers, users are using it at CERN. So just wanted to emphasize that. At the end of anything that you do from an EAM perspective is the whole EAM solution. This is the solution that is able to scale up from 10 users to 5,000 users. Here you can manage your assets, which could be of any type: capital equipments, buildings, facilities, linear assets, fleets, IT assets, any of your production equipment. You can also manage processes. If you're using an ERP, you typically would be doing purchasing and material management there. But if your organization is mature enough to see maintenance as a cost center itself, or if it is maintenance of your equipments like Godrej does in their material handling, some of the equipments that they're installing at their customer's place are managed using the EAM solution, and an instance of the EAM solution. So the equipments that are manufacturing their products are monitored by EAM, and also the subsystems or systems that they're deploying for their customers, they are able to monitor, because today in a extremely competitive environment, service is becoming a very strong profitable line of business for all customers. So they have used Godrej and Boys Material Handling is actually using that also to take care of their procurement. So in that case, maybe if you want your material management, your purchasing, all of that to be separate from your ERP, we can even do that. Either way, we can work closely with any ERP application that you are deployed with. We also have HSE, which is Health, Safety and Environment Regulations. Any hazards that happen on site, regulatory compliances, closure of those cases, legal compensations, all that can be handled in the application itself. So again, that is under from managing of processes, scheduling your team members, having 5 plants and having a call center to take your first level calls. All these kind of scenarios are supported by the EAM solution. Then we have the effectiveness, that is reactive or breakdown maintenance, preventive maintenance or schedule maintenance, condition based or monitor based maintenance. I will be talking in a little bit of detail for IoT on condition based maintenance in some time. Predictive maintenance, we have predictive maintenance being done based on tendencies or single variable predictive maintenance, where we are actually looking at getting into uh, handling requests based on threshold violations. Reliability centered maintenance, where we are doing reliability controlled maintenance to actually see the whole compliance of RCM principles, reliability centered maintenance principles. We are, as our solution, we support ISO 55001 or 50001, which is a complete asset cycle that you can go through. Risk-based maintenance. These are what we are able to do. So you first is you want to have a strategy for maintenance. You need to have a strong product which will do all of this, which is mobile enabled, which is IoT enabled, which has got single variable alerts already as part of the solution, global sustainability, audit checks, dashboards and benchmarking, and it is able to integrate at the lower half with e-learning, with geographical information systems, CAD systems, resource scheduling systems, and also being mobile enabled. So this is where we are very, very different from any other solution that is in the market. Let us look at one example from an IoT perspective of dynamic pump condition monitoring. So let's look at this. We are looking at a use case where we worked with one of our customers where a real-time pump parameter is taken care of. So here on the left side, you will see a schema where you will see the pump at the lowest level here, and then you will see IoT sensors on it. You will get the data using Wi-Fi IoT hub, which will take the vibration, pressure, temperature, and flow data onto a cloud-enabled situation like what Godrej was exactly telling you. We have our datasheet maintenance histories in the EAM, and we do the dynamic monitoring based on the sensor-based data in the cloud. And this is where we are able to get in data to actually look at pulling the data on multiple variables. Let me show you that immediately in the next slide. See this, historical measurements, recent measurements on a function of time for flow, head pressure details or historicals there, and the vibration that's happening on the pump. Based on this, you would want to get a dynamic condition score recommended for priority inspection. This is a classic IoT, Internet of Things based, AI based solution that we are suggesting, and customers are building on our enterprise asset management solution. What do you do in such a solution? Because we are now building these things, I'm just going into little more details. You capture data, pick it up, all the IoT readings at 30 seconds or 1 minute or 90-second frequencies, pull it all into a data lake which is on the cloud, and this collect the maintenance history in the data lake, and then collect the asset data sheet in the data lake, and these starred are all asset specific. So you will take a pump, and the pump's 4 parameters that you want to monitor, that data is picked up and taken into the cloud. Second is you will process data. You will cleanse the data. There is a huge amount of data. Today's pumps, many pumps or many spinning equipments or weaving equipments or centrifugal equipments, they are able to give you this kind of sensor data already. And we can get drowned in the volume of data that they throw at us. So we need to be first cleansing the data. Then we need to look at what is the dynamic condition matrices we want to do, which is again asset specific. Then we calculate the scores. This is again something which is going to be very important. One fact here is the kind of data that you capture. If you have poor data, bad data, you cannot do IoT. You need to have structured data, like I showed you in the previous screen, about asset and the data volumes that you do. You have to have them in a very, very structured format. Then you are able to analyze, compare scores. What is happening to this pump in my Mumbai or Taloja factory, and what is happening to the same kind of model pump which I'm using maybe in the Noida factory or in the Gurgaon factory or in Chennai or in Sri Perumbudur factory. So that kind of data you can compare and look at performances across your asset base if you have the data in one place. Reports and graphics of the asset, inspected, identified data. So there is a lot of things you can do if you put all your data in one structured format and deliver the whole data. This is one of the ways you can actually present your data. You can present your data in IoT. This is one of our dashboards that we have created, where you will see the kind of pumps that are activated, the sensors, because it all sounds very easy, ladies and gentlemen, but you will need to pick your sensor data. You will need to see all your sensors are active. You need to ensure that your sensors are successfully sending the data, and you need something that monitors all of it. This is a dashboard here where you will see data being picked up. You will see data that's been shown, what is the uptimes, what is the dates, and what is the temperatures that it's coming, and what is the uptime that's given. Here are the IoT messages, how many messages are coming into the data lake. On the bottom side, you will find widgets, activated devices, and which are the most used devices. All of that can be represented on a dashboard within the ION framework, within Inforce solution. This is how, ladies and gentlemen, we are able to do and successfully deploy and move from Industry 2.0 or 3.0 to Industry 4.0. So here again, this becomes your core building block. The slide that I'm just put up, this is exactly what we are going to do as a core building block, where we will see huge amounts of assets that we need to define, structure the data, and be able to uh, manipulate the data using sensors as we go forward, like we saw in this diagram. So this is the key part of the whole idea of how we will be able to solve this challenge that is in front of us about handling uh, reactive, predictive, like in the screen that I just showed you, reactive, predictive, preventive, predictive, condition based, all these kind of modeling. You need a system, sir, today, or an application that will be able to scale you up into the future, like even support you with prognosis or even prescriptive maintenance. These are kind of maintenance that's coming with a lot of computing power available today. But you need to first, everybody has an equipment master in an Excel sheet minimum, but you need to have it in a way that you are able to scale this data, not move the data from one system to another because you need something else to be done. So it's very important that your data is fairly structured, fairly clean, before you are able to do this kind of dynamic condition monitoring framework. With this, I have come to my conclusion of my presentation. I would be wanting the Economic Times team to actually open it for questions. We're really happy to take some questions.
That you have put forward here. We would be opening the lines for the questions. You can send across your questions to marking all the panelists. You can also raise your hand and we can unmute your line to take those questions.
Uh, Hi, panel members. We already have one question from Sibaji Patnaik. The question is how much it is important to restructure or changing organogram before implementing Industry 4.0 or EAM, or is it necessary?
Sure, Binu. Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't need to really change your organogram. When I say organogram, basically meaning your hierarchy within the organization is what I'm assuming. But if it is asset hierarchies, that is not a problem. As I told you, we would, as a part of the implementation, we would look at what is your asset hierarchy now and how is it that we are able to leverage that. We can always continue to come back and recommend to you as an implementation for IoT if we need to make changes. But we are only thing that is very basic is to have a very structured availability of the data that is to be of all the assets, so that we are able to manipulate it and compute it with very strong, powerful processors using the sensor data. I hope I've answered your question.
Can we go with the next question, or can we unmute the person whose questions has been answered?
We do have another question from Mr.
Uh-huh.
Manoj Gupta.
Hmm.
Question is, being in oil and gas industry, whether the tablets or field monitoring handsets are available in flame proof or explosion proof.
That is something we'll have to come back to you with. I don't have an answer for that now, but there are not tablets, but there are devices that can be used in those kind of conditions also, because we will not be able to talk about Wi-Fi based enable because of the charging, the charge being given out and it creating tendencies to create explosions in any which way. But there are devices that are used in those conditions, and we can always look at adapting those to reach out to the conditions that are on the ground where the assets are.
Okay, so do we have any more questions? If not, we would even love to take more questions on one-on-one. If you have anything to discuss, you can directly reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to take that up. Shashank, just let us know if you have any other questions to take, or maybe we can just close for the day.
As of now, I don't have any questions right now. If anything pops up, I will let you know.
Okay, so maybe we can just wait for a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
See, there's one Vijay Singh who is writing, can you take up my question?
Yeah.
What is that about? I don't
So,
see any question on the chat box.
Mr. Vijay, can you write your question here? Or if you want, we can unmute your line. You can also speak. Okay, so the question is on the screen right now. Who is the IoT solution supplier? How long it has been in place? So that is the question.
This question, as I see, is probably to me.
Yes.
So who is? We have three agencies with whom we have been working, and one of them is Bangalore-based, which is CADEM, and one is Zyfra, which is a Israeli company, Russian company, and is doing a lot of work for us internally here. And the third one is a local, our own E&D. Electrical and electronic service providing vertical, it has a number of other smaller startups whom they are connected with. I can also talk about that automobile OEM. Do you have any case study on in automobiles? See, the undercarriage case which we are talking of, the type of work which is being done for the undercarriage in my presentation, very similar things are applicable for automobiles also. Well, Mr. Singh, Vijay Sabu here again. We have most of the this sensors which we have been using are what are available in the direct market, and most the maintenance teams are aware of those, and they're also being used for the purpose of regular monitoring and alarms which come on our assets. It is a question of them connecting them and those signals to be able to be sent to cloud after proper interpretation. That is the only difference. IFM and Omran are two of them from whom we have been using some of the sensors. I hope that answers.
We have another question from Mr. Abhishek Sharma. His question is, you have any online oil Nash value instrument, same as online moisture instrument for oil?
Shashank, can you repeat the question, and who should be taking that up?
So the question, he hasn't asked any specific person for that. Anybody can take that up. So the question is, you have any online oil lash value instrument, same as online moisture instrument for oil? So are there any online oil lash value instruments?
Binu, is this one for you?
I would want to understand some more of it.
Could be for me. This could be for me, but we are currently not doing anything like that. We are only measuring oil temperature and not for any NASH. I am just typing out that answer.
How IoT is useful for pharmaceutical industry? That is another question that we have.
So for pharma industry, I think for all the utility equipments that you have, HVACs or any gensets or coolers or process equipment, support equipments, utilities that we call it, those are the ones that you would want to have uptime and maintenance, because even if they go down, the quality of your product will go down. That is where sensors are used and their uptime is maintained. Apart from that, we are compliant. In pharma, we support 21 CFR Part 11 compliance of calibration, calibration, e-signatures, audits. All of that is standard functionality within our application. So we have large customers like Pfizer globally using us, Biomarine, many other customers which are using us globally for their compliance to 21 CFR Part 11.
Okay, so we have another question from Durai Raj. Any equipments available for online power quality and consumption monitoring in arc furnace?
Power and power consumption, surely there are equipments, there are sensors that can pick that. In fact, it doesn't require a sensor. If the power equipment is digital, we can pick the data from it itself.
Another question, do you have any reference in cement industry for Industry 4.0?
Cement industry, I'll have to check and come back. But very similar industries we do have and we do have in more human critical industries like food and beverage, pharma. We have a lot of so we can surely explore and look at from a cement industry. I can come back to you on that. Priyanka, if you could just make a note of that, that will be really nice.
Sure, Binu. Yeah.
Okay, so the next question is, any idea or experience on robotic sludge cleaning technology in large crude or product storage tanks? Please share if any experience or case study is there in this regard.
No, sir. I don't have any experience or case study in robotic stuff. We don't do that, but as part of maintenance of that asset, if you want, we can look at what ways we can integrate with automated sludge clearance based on the level that it is filling in, whatever. So that is something that we can do as part of the sludge collector or the tank itself being an asset.
Yes, Mr. Sabu.
Yeah, one of our businesses which is making huge heat exchange controller containers. In those, we have some requirement of some welding, and the temperature inside really heats up. So earlier, a person used to go in and do that with all sort of heat-resistant costumes. But now we have converted it, wherein a robot does all that activity and is being controlled from outside. So that kind of a case study is there with us.
We have another question. What are types of IoT devices, IoT sensors, like for temperature and vibration? Are there any other sensors or any other equipment for that?
It would be nice to answer that if we know what is the end utility for. Sensors are of different types, passive, active, all types of sensors for temperature, flow rates, vibration, thermo. We can pick data from thermography and all of that, but it would be nice to know what is the usage that they're having in mind.
So a follow-up question on the pharma question that was asked earlier. Is there any case study to understand the benefit as a case, are there any case study for pharma industry?
Sure there is. If we know your contact coordinate details or email details, we can send it to you.
So the name of the person who is asked is Soumya Datta. Ashish, can you make note of this name and maybe later you can share the case study to this gentleman?
Sure, I'll make a note of that.
Can we share a contact details for Mr. Rajendran V also. He wants to know, he wants to get reference on Industry 4.0.
Priyanka, if you could just give your contact details.
Uh, you have already messaged to all the attendees the email ID of Shashank. Maybe Priyanka, you can also drop in your email ID. So in case they have any questions, they can definitely drop you an email about it.
Uh, Mr. Vijay and Mr. Bino, there is another question. How IoT use for power industries in boiler maintenance?
First,
If we go to boiler maintenance, it is the same like any other equipment. You would be wanting to have indirect measurement of certain temperatures, how it is inside, the pressure and flow. So, in most cases, what happens is you will need to go to some very basic measurement sensors available, and whatever parameter you wish to measure on the boiler, how that particular signal can be taken and converted to an electrical signal, either digital or analog, and can be then sent to the cloud, is what you need to see. Shashank, in the presentation which we had done for, there was one presentation available, I think, in the World Class Maintenance Summit, which was about some chicken farm.
Yes.
And it was a very good case where a very unconventional industry, which probably no one thought could be using it, how effectively they had gone about using maintenance 4.0 and industry 4.0 facilities to improve their productivity. I think
yeah, just to add to that, even in Infor, we have been actually looking at helping some of our customers in the food and beverage industry, where they have actually connected it and picked up data that is there from farms based on the location of the farm, the quality of the history of the data for the productivity of the farm, and what is the kind of output that it is giving. So there is quite a lot of data there that we can also share if you're interested in looking at a few things.
Yep. So if we do not have any other questions now, we can also reach out to all of you who have raised questions and ensure that it's all answered. You can also reach out to us directly. We would be reaching out to you post the webinar to see if you have anything else that can be discussed and taken forward from there. Thank you for all your time. Thank you for joining us. We will look forward to see and hear more from you going forward.